Welcome back everyone to what is, outside of the bait of the year video, probably my favorite video to look back on and to do, because in the musky industry, yeah, the baits like this take a lot of the glory. Everybody wants to know what bait you caught it on, but there's so much gear that goes into being successful, and it could cover so many different areas when you start talking about gear. And in the past, we've done a few of those videos, and I'll link them down below, that have shown some of the gear that's been so important to us in our success. So this year, when I started looking at gear, there was a few things that really stood out, and those are going to be in the number one position. I'm going to do three things here today that, while on the outside, they may not seem super important, but the investment we make in musky fishing cannot be, underestimated. We need to protect our gear, take care of our gear, and you need to trust your gear when you need it in that split moment, because guys, we all know musky fishing is hours and hours, sometimes days and days of nothing, and then a split second of just pandemonium, and you need to be prepared in those moments. Coming in at number three for us could be almost anything from the Net Buddy. We all know the Musky Buddy receiver for your net has revolutionized musky fishing across the board. It's probably the most revolutionary piece of musky gear we've seen in easily a decade. It's one that everybody's talking about. There's a couple copycats out there. One's on the market. One, I think, kind of stopped on their own. Don't quote me exactly on that, but I believe that's what happened. The Net Buddy, Musky Buddy net system hit the market in 2024. A lot of you guys have it. Amazing net. The newer, slightly larger hoop is great, and Matt's coming out with an even larger net for you guys that are after those giants. It's got a double puck version of the yoke, which we run this year, which was great. All in all, I could just easily say it's the Net Buddy, Musky Buddy net, but that's not really what I want to talk about. Yes, it's a very important part of what we do, but protecting your gear is just as important. And I want to talk about these rod socks here that Matt at Net Buddy makes, and they, well, it's just easy to say it's just another rod sock. For years, if I can get my phone cord unwrapped, this is what rods came with. These open weave rod covers, which are great. They do protect, they do work, but they will blow off on the lake, and these things are notorious for having hooks hooked into them. That's just old news for us. These new ones from Net Buddy, they roll up like that. They have the size right on them. This is a 9-foot. This one here, I believe, is a 10-foot. He makes 8, 8.5, 9, 9.5, and 10, I believe. You take it off your rod, you roll it up like that, and when you're ready to put it back on your rod, slides in, and then the elastic goes right over your reel. It's built to the exact right length for each rod. Can't say enough about these. And yeah, guys, it's not a real sexy item, but I'll tell you what, when you have a boat like mine, my Pro Guide, where my rods will not fit in the rod locker, they have to sit on the side. This protects them while I'm traveling, and it protects them from the odd time where somebody might step on that rod or something gets set down on it. Super important, guys. Love the Net Buddy rod sleeves. Another quick thing with Net Buddy is Matt makes these neoprene cable covers for you live scope guys. I have one on this one. Protects the cable, protects that joint at the bottom. And he also makes a number of different transducer covers. This one happens to be for a 32 neoprene with Velcro. Super easy to put on and off. And for me, I like it better than some of those kind of rubber style that clip on. Those work good in the summer, but you try doing that in the winter when it's cold, just not going to happen. So absolutely love his transducer covers. And the cable wrap, and they're easy to install. I did do a quick video on it. I'll try and link that down below as well. Makes a ton of different products to protect your gear. So guys, if you're looking for a net, definitely check out the Net Buddy. And if you're looking for arguably the best rod stock to ever hit the market, check them out. They come in at number 3 on our Gear of the Year. Just all of the products from the Net Buddy. Got to protect your gear, guys. Coming in at number 2 on Gear of the Year is a product that we've talked about a lot on this channel, and somehow yet again it's one of those ones that just kind of flies under the radar. Although everybody talks about it, I think it's one that it's easy to overlook when you're in the moment, and that is the Growler arm attachment from Droptine Tackle. We did push Thatcher and Jody a little bit into making these, and I know they've been really popular for them. And this is basically our favorite combination right there. And this almost made our Bait of the Year video. In fact, when I said that 3 different things could have come in at number 5, this was one of the catches in that video. And alone, the Bondy Royal Orba could have been in there as well, but this is my favorite way to use it, is on a junior Bondy Royal Orba. It just gives it so much thump, makes it look bigger. You don't need to use a bigger lure size with this. Love it. But you can use it in a variety of different ways. Here is one of Thatcher's triple deuce arms. We run this one on this Poseidon. That's why I'm showing you guys this, but whether it's a bigger arm attachment or the smaller one like the Growler, there you can get them in different weights. You can see here different size weights on there, and all kinds of color combinations to match anything you guys are using. It's one of those quick, easy add-ons. You can just pick up, 2 or 3 different base colors, and you can use it in a variety of different ways on swim baits. And like I say, guys, on the Bondy Royal Orba, it just transforms that lure into something that fishes and looks so much bigger, but yet it's so easy to retrieve and use. It almost never fouls up on the cast, which is great. And it's just an easy style of lure, an easy style of attachment to run in front of almost any type of rubber bait. We've messed around running it in front of a twisted tube. Sadly, I don't think I have any footage of that, but if I grab a twisted tube, and you can see if I put that in front, now just on a straight retrieve, that's going to give that thump, and then those tails off of that twisted tube are just going to undulate in the water like that. So again, there's just a variety of ways you can use something as simple as an arm attachment, and it's just criminally underrated. I wanted to make special mention of it because it was so close. Like it could have went either way on what bait we were going to choose in that number 5 slot, but you really have to check out the Growler arm attachments from Droptine Tackle. We've been with John from Stealth Tackle now for 2 full seasons, and we can't thank John enough. When he took us on, it opened up a lot of avenues for us to try different styles of leaders, different styles of sucker rigs, and he's willing to make anything that you want within that. And what I like about it is that he already has a huge selection of leaders. And if you guys would like to have just a leader only video, let me know down in the comments or shoot me a message. And that's something that we've talked about doing. getting in the water with different styles of leaders and different styles of lures to see what they truly do, because everybody kind of recommends what they use, but we're always not sure how they, react with different styles of lures. So that might be a fun one too, guys. But this year, because we had a lot of suckers, we had access to them, we knew it was going to be back to our style of fishing. We were going to be digging in on the sucker rigs, and I don't want to leave the rest of the guys out. Something that John has for the trollers is a 174-pound solid wire, 48-inch leader with a solid ring. And I started using that this year on my trolling rod, and here it is here. Of course, it's going to be hard to see, but no kinks in it. I did run it with a snap, and I did run it with a split ring attachment to the bait on stuff like Supernaturals. I love it. It cuts through the water really easy, and it's just something that I felt really safe and comfortable with around the fish. Not worrying about bite-offs or anything, because even with a big fluorocarbon leader, when they start rolling up, you get that fluorocarbon nicked up around their gill plates because they notoriously want to roll on you. But I just thought that this was just such a cool style of leader, and we didn't do a lot of A/B testing between fluorocarbon and the solid wire, but it definitely, in our eyes, using the live scope, allowed us to get, just a little bit deeper with our lures, a little bit more predictable with our depths using our line counter. And there's a noticeable hum in the water when you just get the bait in there and that wire is moving. So that was one that really stood out for us. So for you trollers, definitely check out the 174-pound solid wire leader from Stealth. We really liked it. I'll probably be adding it to more of my trolling rods next year. So the other one I really want to dig into is the GT sucker rig from Stealth Tackle. This is how it looks when it comes out of the package, guys. It's got the metal nose clip, which we like. I just find it so much easier than like the old rubber band method. And I like it better than the nose hook. I find this works really well. And what I really like about the GT rig is that John he's teed those hooks, and he put a little single hook in the middle. I'll pull the barb off, or the barb cover. And now that you can use to stick right into the side of your live bait without having to hook one of the big hooks in. And to contrast that, on his double rig, which this is here, very similar, but the hooks have that one treble bent out to stick into your live bait. So it's definitely a little more intrusive to the live bait. I'll show you how I set my rig up, but the beauty of that GT rig is when you get that nose clip into your bait, the only downside, let me back up there and tell you why I do modify it. The only downside I see is this long fluorocarbon leader. When it's pulled back like that, it's great. But when the sucker is swimming faster than it's being pulled, there's memory in that fluorocarbon. And that's why we pretty much all the time cut that lead off, and we'll make our own. More on that in a second. But the beauty of the GT rig with that hook in it is hooking it into your live bait. So if we have our nose clip, and I'll just hook it through on this beat up Shadzilla. So say it's hooked into the nose there, like that. And then I take my leads down each side. I can stick it right into the body of the bait fish like that. And all 3 points of that treble are exposed. When a fish grabs it and it pulls, that small little barb breaks free, super quick and easy. And it's one of our best hookup percentage rigs over the past number of years. And granted, the last few years we haven't had a lot of suckers, but when we started testing a style like this of our own and then went to the GT rigs, our hookup percentages are a lot better. Sucker rigging for muskies in the fall, it's like 1/3 skill, 1/3, and the skill is kind of knowing where the fish are going to be. Just caveat that. 1/3 luck, because you watch on the live scope, muskies will follow for 15, 20 minutes, a half hour without eating. It's frustrating, but the ones that eat, they just come off the bottom and they grab it. And it's like 1/3 black magic, because everybody has a different idea on what works, what trigger strikes, what puts the odds in your favor. Almost everybody that does any kind of serious sucker rigging mods their rigs. So we could do a standalone sucker rigging video if you guys want. I did do one a couple of years ago here where we talked about things that we do to increase your odds. But I could do a new one now if you guys want. Again, leave me a comment down below. This is the rig I used all year. And again, guys, I cut that fluorocarbon lead off of it. It's got the standard 2 hooks that come on the GT rig. This one and this one here. And I added a 3rd hook. All I did was take a hook lead out of John's double rig, or it might have been out of one of his single rigs. And I attached it with a split ring to that front hook. And this one, I'll stick right at the very tail of the bait fish. So if my 2 conventional hooks are on the side, about those positions, I'll put that 3rd one right at the back. That way, fish hits it at the back, we got a really good chance of hookup. And don't kid yourself, guys. Muskies do not always headhunt. We've got so much footage to prove that. We've run the underwater cameras to know that they don't always headhunt. That is just a myth. It does not always happen. Lots of times when a muskie grabs it at the tail like that and you set the hook, both hooks are in front of it, and you think it was a problem with your hook set. It's absolutely not. Here's a clip here where I got a super hard hook set, and yet we got that fish to the boat, almost got it in the net, and it just let go. It never had a hook. Even though you do a hook set, they'll stay hung on. So again, it's trying to put the odds in our favor. That's why a lot of times on slightly bigger suckers, I will run that 3rd hook. And as for leaders, we make up all of our own, and we generally put a weight on it. So this would be attached to my line directly up top, about 1 foot long, and then attached to my sucker rig here. And now I can raise and lower that sucker in the water column wherever I want. And if I want a slightly stealthier approach, this is a little wee short fluorocarbon leader I made right there with a weight on it, attached straight to a 49 strand leader. So again, very durable and does basically the same thing. It allows me to weight that sucker, get it up and down in the water column wherever I need it. And for us, we like to present our suckers to the muskies. We rarely ever cast and try and use a sucker as a decoy. Check out Stealth Tackle for all your leader needs. John just has a multitude of different styles of leaders, and if you ever get a chance, listen to him on any of the podcasts he's on. He's on the Backlash podcast. If you go on there and just search his name, tons of great information. And leaders are one of those things that I think we, as musky anglers, think they need to be over-engineered, but you can really get away with a lot smaller leader than you would think in most cases. And like these little 49 strand wire leaders are absolutely amazing. And John's somebody that I'm going to try and have on our lives, our podcasts in the future. So if you guys have any leader questions, again, just leave a comment, or when we get close to doing that, we'll try and maybe make a list of questions and we'll try and get John on, because there's so much that goes into having that connection between your line and your bait. And see a lot of guys kind of cheap out on that connection, whether it's the line or the leader, and you can spend thousands of dollars on all these lures, but if you buy the cheapest line and the cheapest leader, you're setting yourself up for failure, guys. I appreciate you guys sticking with me through this one. I know sometimes these are not the things that are in the forefront of everybody's mind when we talk about musky fishing, but the gear is so important, guys. You have to have good gear, solid gear, reliable gear. That's why I think these type of videos are so important, especially for new anglers, to start to learn what it is that they can trust and learn where not to take shortcuts, because it's so hard to catch these fish, guys. We do not want to lose them because we took a shortcut somewhere. We don't want to throw our gear around and not protect it. It's a big investment. And for all you new anglers, as you come into this sport, buy good gear, buy quality gear, protect it, take care of it, and when you need it to perform for you, it will. And little things like leaders are so important. Little things like having that blade attachment from Droptine, it can just transform a lure. And for newer anglers, it might be overwhelming to try new stuff all the time, but it's always great to experiment when you have a chance, because there's that one thing out there that might just hit for you and be your best lure, your most confidence lure. So you have to be willing to try stuff. And for us at 54 Bus, we always give ourselves, 20% of our time to try something new on any given day, unless the bite's like really crazy and we're right on it. But you have to be willing to try and experiment and be open to new ideas. And that's really what these kind of videos are about. So thanks so much, guys. Check out the video right here for a product that we didn't really know was going to turn out to be one of our most trusted pieces of gear in the boat, both in the summer and the winter. And for now, 54 Bus is out of here. We'll catch you guys out on the water later. Guys, is the GT rig, sucker rig from Stealth, as everything falls down. We tried, check out the video right here, and we didn't know it was going to be one of our most, let's try that again. So for another video, check out the link